Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. Maybe instead of just constantly badgering government officials about coming clean with regard to the reality of the extraterrestrial presence and their secretive programs to recover crashed UFOs and reverse engineer alien tech in secret, maybe instead of doing this, maybe what we need to start doing is imploring the aliens themselves, the extraterrestrials who are responsible for all this havoc, to do something, to bring disclosure themselves. Maybe that's what we're not doing. Maybe that's what we need to start doing. I mean, I don't know if there's any extraterrestrials out there listening right now. There might be. You never know. And in the off chance that there are, maybe like David Jacobs talks about, that there are half human, half alien beings living among us right now. Maybe some of them will come across this message that I'm about to deliver. I actually wrote this up over the weekend, and it's a direct request to the extraterrestrial presence to disclose the reality that they are here to the world. Anyway, here we go. The world needs a demonstration. The extraterrestrial presence has undeniably caused havoc on Earth, and the time has come for these visitors to show themselves to everybody. Since 1947, when UFO sightings exploded, it's been all downhill. Lives have been ruined, cover-ups of retrievals of crashed or downed extraterrestrial craft have intensified, and secretive programs are ongoing to reverse engineer alien technology in an obvious effort by countries to obtain a militaristic upper hand on their neighbors. It's ugly, it's disgusting, and it's plain to see by anyone who takes the time and effort to educate themselves on the situation. All of this could have been avoided had our non-human visitors announced themselves to the world in a manner where the reality of their existence left no doubts in the minds of every human being on the planet. Of course, throughout the decades, there have been events that made it crystal clear that we are not alone in the universe. However, because some human beings placed in positions of power across the globe are hell-bent on keeping the reality of the extraterrestrial presence a secret, the veracity of some events has been ceaselessly attacked and ridiculed. Consider the aerial school event that occurred in September 1994 in Zimbabwe, where more than 60 elementary school students encountered a landed alien craft and extraterrestrial beings during a morning recess. One of the alien beings communicated telepathically with several of the students and put images of global destruction into their minds. Many of the children who were part of this event were subsequently interviewed, and it was clear that they all had encountered extraterrestrial beings and an alien craft. Children of this age are incapable of orchestrating a conspiracy to contrive such an encounter, and now as adults they are telling the world the same story they told 30 years ago. It really happened. Yet, the mainstream media has largely ignored this event because of the efforts of secret government groups that have for years stigmatized the concept of extraterrestrial visitation and UFO sightings, while covertly studying the phenomenon outside of the public view. Despite the efforts of secretive government organizations to prevent the truth from reaching the masses, there have been some people who have made it their mission in life to disclose the reality of the extraterrestrial presence. We have reached a point in the United States of America where there are some politicians interested in disclosing the truth, but they are experiencing strong resistance from the group of unelected power brokers responsible for the cover-up, who will seemingly stop at nothing to prevent their activities from being exposed. Money, bribery, arrogance, power, and avarice are clearly driving forces behind this covert group's secrecy policies, and it will take more than a crowbar to claw what they have learned about extraterrestrials to this point away from them. That brings us to those responsible for the mess the world has been in for nearly 80 years now, the extraterrestrials. There are millions of people on this planet who have accepted at this point that you are here. There are countless people alive and dead who have been affected by your presence, whether by sighting your craft, by seeing you in the flesh, by being forcefully or willfully abducted by you, or by learning about your existence through the research and accounts of others. There are enough people on this planet who know you are here, outside of the powerful groups attempting to exploit your technology behind the scenes, that the time has come to let the rest of the world know with certainty that you are here. The debate among humans with regard to your existence needs to end. In addition to the powerful humans maintaining the secret of your existence while exploiting your technology, there are other humans who are extremely interested in pretending that you do not exist while ridiculing those who know the truth. Some of these other humans are clearly terrified of the extraterrestrial reality and regularly attempt to debunk the phenomenon in an effort to assuage their inner fears. Others are apparently dishonest pretenders who exploit the topic as a means to become famous or to make money. And for some of these other humans, it's a combination of fear and a desire to profit off the phenomenon that drives them. The human race is ready to know the full truth, but it cannot wait any longer for the powerful humans to finally divulge that truth. They will never willingly come clean, and it is uncertain whether the rest of us have the wherewithal to force the truth from them. That's why this part should be up to you. We have no idea how many extraterrestrial races are present on Earth or how many have come and gone. We don't know if you're here to simply study us or whether you're here to colonize and take over. What we do know is this. You mutilate some of Earth's animals for reasons that are unclear. You have abducted many humans over the years and have removed samples from them before returning them to the place where you found them. You have shown that you have the ability to wipe away memories of interactions with you from the minds of people you have taken and returned. You travel in machines that have the ability to move more quickly than anything devised by the human race. Your crafts have the ability to move through air, water, and space. You have the ability to shut down or activate our most devastating nuclear weapons. You implant devices into humans, and the technology is such that the subjects' bodies do not reject them. The implants are beyond human comprehension, as their purpose is unknown to us. You communicate telepathically. You have the ability to paralyze a human subject from a distance. You can place images into the minds of humans. You can create false memories in the minds of humans. Although your modes of transportation show extreme advancements in technology compared to anything created by the human race, your machines sometimes crash. You possess invisibility technology. The craft you use come in various shapes and sizes, and some of them have the apparent ability to change shapes. In short, the jig is up. Some of us know you are here, and we demand that you make that fact clear to those who remain oblivious or unconvinced of your existence. This can be accomplished by a demonstration of your abilities, but on a worldwide scale. For instance, flying one or more of your gigantic motherships over heavily populated areas of the world in broad daylight would be an example of how this disclosure in part could be accomplished. A display such as that, coupled with the transference of a telepathic message into the minds of every person on the planet at the same time, would go a long way to ending the vicious debate that was initiated by extraterrestrials via their mere presence here. While it is clear extraterrestrials seem to want to continue operating on Earth behind a covert cloak of secrecy, similarly to how the powerful humans want to keep the entirety of the world ignorant of your presence, we have reached a point where this has become untenable. The truth needs to be revealed to all, and it mustn't be contained a day longer. You possess the ability to end this embargo on reality, and it is time to act. While it is guaranteed that a revelation of this magnitude will cause a great upheaval and change the course of human history forever, it is an action that needs to happen before the human race destroys itself. We need a wake-up call, and you can deliver it. We need to know where we stand in the universe and what we need to do to alter our crash course toward oblivion. Although this is just one small voice crying out from a population of more than 8 billion persons, it is clear that the human race is struggling to learn from history. We engage in never-ending wars where people are killed or maimed or lose loved ones on a daily basis. Many in positions of power foment hate and intolerance among the weak-minded via deceit and lies and selfish efforts to attain more control. While it seems like change for the better is a distant dream, a demonstration from an alien civilization might just be the remedy the human race needs. Something needs to change, but social media has created such a division between human beings that needed change seems like an impossibility at this point. A disclosure of the truth about the presence of the technologically advanced non-human intelligence on Earth by the extraterrestrials themselves could steer the human race away from the cliff. Will this message reach the extraterrestrial presence? It is possible there are alien beings living among us in human form, the product of genetic manipulation as described by some alien abductees. Human appearing alien beings could possibly be alerted to the request set forth in this production and provided to their superiors where a decision could be made. It is certain that many other people who have longed for the truth to be told to the world about the reality of the extraterrestrial presence will agree wholeheartedly with everything suggested here. Many are supremely confident that the phenomenon is 100% real, and they're tired of government lies, the stigma and the ridicule, and the present course of human endeavor. Extraterrestrials have been playing games with the human race for far too long, and the time has come for them to show their cards. Now, that's that. And I don't know if it will reach anyone other than human beings, but it's worth a shot. You never know. That would end. This would bring this to an end. I mean, they're the ones who caused this, right? All this chaos. This debate that's still raging today after all these years, decades and decades and decades. It's their fault that we are where we are. It's their fault. They show themselves to some, but not all, and that's how it's always been, and that's why we're living in this strange situation where some people say it's not true and other people know for a fact that it's true. And then meanwhile, we have governments in this world who are secretly, covertly trying to reverse engineer recovered, crashed extraterrestrial craft. It needs to come to an end, and I'm not sure the way things are going that it's going to come to an end. Just a few days ago, there was an article written by Christopher Sharp in Liberation Times. Of course, I talk about Liberation Times a lot on here. I think it's this guy writes the best articles about what's going on in Washington with regard to this. And the headline says it all: "The Empire Strikes Back." And we all know what he's talking about there. But I want to go through this article and talk about what he says here. America's official unidentified anomalous phenomena investigation has failed, and the media is complicit. Comments from its former director, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, have sought to discredit serious allegations regarding potentially illegal programs connected with materials of non-human origin. Dr. Kirkpatrick even suggested tic-tac shaped objects, such as the one which outmaneuvered a Top Gun pilot in 2004, could be explained by a balloon produced in Florida. Yeah, we're being gaslighted on a scale that it's incredible to even imagine that something like this is possible, that we actually have this official, Kirkpatrick, who was put in charge of Arrow, resigns, and then he goes public making comments like this, ridiculous comments like this. And it's an obvious stunt, an effort to get that toothpaste back into the tube. They want to end this. They want this to go away. And that's why you feel like helpless sometimes. That's why maybe the way this needs to come to a conclusion is by the extraterrestrials themselves making some sort of a massive demonstration throughout the world. Anyway, continuing here, it says, "Have no doubt all the most pressing concerns and serious allegations regarding UAP are being buried and brushed aside. Following the hollowing out of the UAP Disclosure Act, the vultures are circling and looking to put the genie back in the box." Exactly. That's what they're trying to do. "The mainstream media is a pale shadow of its former self. Long gone are the multi-sourced deep investigations searching for truth, no matter how alarming. Instead, we are bombarded with opinions informed by the tainted views of Dr. Kirkpatrick and a novice debunker." The novice debunker, by the way, that he's talking about here is Nicholson Baker, who I talked about recently, who put an article out, an opinion piece, an op-ed piece, basically filled with ridiculous information, falsehoods, and nonsense. But I just want to say something else about Christopher's comment here with regard to the media. The media, for the most part, the mainstream media, has always they've never really taken this subject seriously. They really haven't. For a couple of minutes, basically, in 2017 and off and on over since 2017, they did. Like the New York Times when it published that piece from Leslie Kean and Ralph Blumenthal about the that talked about the leaked Pentagon videos. That was, and then it's been pretty much downhill for the most part. I mean, that's why that Rush piece that they wrote last year didn't end up in the New York Times. It ended up in the debrief. It didn't end up in the Washington Post. It ended up in the debrief, because the mainstream media just doesn't want to talk about this anymore for whatever reason. Anyway, continuing here, it says the New York Times, historically known for its esteemed journalism, has shifted its coverage of the topic to a tone that is both patronizing and reminiscent of tabloid reporting. Opinion is easier than investigating a Department of Defense which has failed to pass an audit for 6 years, easier than delving into the intelligence community whose previous shortcomings resulted in a costly invasion of Iraq based on unreliable information. In today's age of journalism, any writer can spout off their ill-informed views. It takes time and hard work to do the deep digging, something not valued in much of today's media landscape. Instead of representing whistleblowers and investigating their claims, the media, in the instance of UAP, have turned into DoD and intelligence community propaganda machines. And when it comes to framing key announcements and new reports, the DoD can count on publications it can leak to for primary definition. I just want to stop there for a second. Yeah, basically that's what they are. The DoD uses the mainstream news as propaganda machines. That's absolutely correct. That's what it is. They're basically stenographers for whatever the DoD tells them. But that's how it's always been for the most part when it comes to this stuff. Stenographers. I mean, when in 1997, when the Air Force came out with that ridiculous explanation about Roswell, that what the alien bodies that all these witnesses talked about, really what they saw were anthropomorphic dummies dropped from high altitudes in the 50s. It seems like I talk about this all the time, but it's hard to believe that that's the media just bought that hook, line, and sinker, and that's it. They basically acted as stenographers for the Department of Defense. There's no investigation. There's no Watergate style investigation into this, and there should be. This is bigger than Watergate, much bigger than Watergate. Anyway, continuing here, it says, the less awkward the questions, the better. Dr. Kirkpatrick, through one interview and one article, is now framing an upcoming historical record report released by his old office, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. And undoubtedly, the report is now tainted by his views and botched investigation in which he failed to follow up with key witnesses. It lacks credibility now. Yeah, there's this report that he's planning on coming out with. And based on the things that Kirkpatrick has been saying publicly, there's not going to be anything of interest in there. It's going to be filled with lies. It's going to be filled with things that are going to cause a lot of people in the UFO community to become extremely angry. We're going to know right away that we're being gaslighted again by somebody who worked for the government. We're going to get this report, and I guarantee you it's going to be garbage. The DoD confirmed to me that his recent comments were reviewed by the Defense Office of Pre-Publication and Security Review. They say Dr. Kirkpatrick is now a private citizen, despite the fact that he remains an unpaid consultant for the Arrow. Kirkpatrick, who represents the executive branch as an unpaid consultant, attacked the critical thinking skills of congressional members, discouraged them from investigating UAP, and claimed investigations informed by whistleblowers were based on a, quote, whirlwind of tall tales, fabrication, and second-hand or third-hand retellings of the same. And that's a lie. We know that. I'm just going to stop there for a second. That's a lie. There's no question about it. Some of these people, some of the people that Grush was talking about, some of those same people who have been meeting with other officials in Congress, as well as the Department of Defense and Intelligence Community Inspector Generals, they're not second-hand witnesses. They're first-hand witnesses. But Kirkpatrick, because he was their choice. He was the Department of Defense's choice to head Arrow. See, it's so half-assed that we did it this way, but that's how they did it. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, continuing here, it says, no whistleblower in their right mind will now approach the Arrow, especially with Dr. Kirkpatrick still associated with the office. That means one part of its mission in investigating serious allegations regarding UAP is now dead. Yeah, Arrow has been totally useless. Totally useless. The UAP Disclosure Act attempted to stop the Department of Defense and intelligence community from marking their own homework by providing an independent citizen review board. That effort was allegedly halted in its tracks by some congressional members linked heavily to military contractors implicated in potentially illegally UAP-related programs, which stood to lose their crown jewels, mostly through eminent domain language attached to the legislation. Yeah, that's the stuff that some of these people in Congress who were basically paid puppets, received money from all these defense contractors like Mike Rogers and Mike Turner, basically killed that legislation. They gutted it. Anyway, continuing here, it says, the DOD and intelligence community have now been emboldened to stop the UAP conversation and ignore inconvenient allegations. Such efforts have been led by Dr. Kirkpatrick, someone placed into the position of AARO's director by David M. Taylor, performing the duties of the Deputy Under Secretary of Defense for Intelligence and Security, a person who, according to sources, has a track record of hostility toward the UAP topic. Dr. Kirkpatrick revealed this in an interview with Peter Bergen, Vice President for Global Studies and Fellows at New America, a think tank whose funders include the United States Department of State, Department of Energy, Northrop Grumman, and Lockheed Martin, the two defense contractors alleged to possess materials of non-human origin. Yeah, we're getting this information about that there's nothing to this from the people who are accused of holding on to this stuff. It's incredible. Anyway, continuing, there have long been doubts that the credibility of AARO dating back to its former inception. Matthew Pines, a civilian intelligence analyst, commented on Twitter X that a DoD source confided to him that the AARO is, quote, entirely a disinformation activity designed to cover and distract with no qualms about misleading Congress. Back in October 2022, one anonymous intelligence source told the Daily Mail there are blank loads of classified videos that are pretty profound and pretty clear. They don't want to talk about this stuff because they really, really don't know what the hell they are. That's the truth. Yeah, we've heard this before. We've heard it from Lou Elizondo. He's told us that there's videos out there that would end this debate, basically. I mean, there's videos that have been captured by military pilots that show the pilots of these UAP and they're gray aliens. They have that, and if they were to show one of those, just one of those videos, that would end this debate. Everyone would know then. But they're not going to do that, because then that ends the whole cover up right there, and they know they're going to have to answer a lot of questions. That's what this is about. But despite an orchestrated effort aided by an army of skeptical commentators and friendly DoD publications, Congress will not give up. Now, this is the bright light in this article. I mean, because the rest of it sounds terrible, because we are right now. There's an effort, a massive effort right now to make this go away. These people, the secret control group, wants this to go away, and we've all been paying attention. We all see what's been going on. We all see how we're being gaslighted, and yet it just continues. But there are people in Congress, like Christopher says here. The first reason, the United States, the world's most powerful nation, doesn't have control of its skies. On this, the former Director of National Intelligence, John Ratcliffe, stated, objects that demonstrate technologies that seem to defy the law of physics and capabilities that we don't have as the world's superpower. He added, our role in the federal government is to provide for the common defense, and we can't do that if someone else has technologies that are better than what we have. The second reason, an alleged huge cover-up of secretive programs relating to non-human materials hidden from Congress. Be under no illusion that elements of the executive branch are now at war with Congress. There's no doubt. Let me just stop there. Yes, there's no doubt. There has to be. That's what's going on right now. You wouldn't have all these people in Congress from both sides of the aisle saying that that what they're hearing some things, and they wouldn't be trying to pass all that legislation if the stuff they weren't hearing from these whistleblowers behind the scenes wasn't compelling. In December 2023, Senator Schumer gave us a glimpse of why the Department of Defense and intelligence community are fighting back. Schumer, who has spoken to multiple credible sources and continues to liaise with the White House on the topic, stated, the United States government has gathered a great deal of information about UAP over many decades, but has refused to share it with the American people. That is wrong, and additionally, it breeds mistrust. We've also been notified by multiple credible sources that information on UAP has also been withheld from Congress, which, if true, is a violation of laws requiring full notification to the legislative branch, especially as it relates to the 4 congressional leaders, the defense committees, and the intelligence committees. The comments are at odds with those made by Kirkpatrick, who disputes the credibility of whistleblowers and suggests nothing but a few balloons are being hidden from the public. Oh boy, it's so, and that makes you so angry when you hear Kirkpatrick talking, saying basically everything's balloons. So basically, that's what Nicholson Baker did, in this debunker wrote recently in that op-ed that I talked about in a recent podcast. That's basically what he was saying. He said everything, all these UFOs that people have seen over the years, could be attributed to balloons, which is absurd. Senior congressional members have their own sources to verify claims of first-hand whistleblowers of alleged illegal UAP programs, many of whom have never spoken to Kirkpatrick. The intelligence community's inspector general, a far more competent authority than the Arrow, has given congressional members no reason to doubt allegations by key UAP whistleblower David Grush, a former senior intelligence official. Following a meeting with the Intelligence Community Inspector General last month, Representative Moskowitz stated on Twitter X, "Based on what we heard, many of Grush's claims have merit." It hasn't just been the Department of Defense and intelligence community thwarting efforts. Defense contractors, for now, unless a resolution can be provided, allegedly do not wish to face legal and financial implications from disclosing their true assets, advanced materials of non-human intelligence. The most significant challenge arising from resistance within the Department of Defense, intelligence community, and defense contractors cannot be understated. There are valid concerns communicated to Liberation Times by multiple sources that China and Russia are contemplating their own disclosure processes. Now, this is something that Grush has talked about too recently, that some of these other countries might disclose the truth before the United States does. Seeing is believing for this one on me, folks. If they are, I don't know. I just can't imagine these strongmen leaders, like these dictators, basically from those two countries, wanting to disclose the truth about UFOs. I don't think that's part of a dictator's handbook. I just don't think that they would want to do something like that, because that would take the attention of all the people that they are. That they are ruling over. It would take it away from, from their agenda. And seeing is believing when it comes to that. Don't believe China or Russia are interested in UAP. China has now established its own UAP office, and in 2019, 2 events were organized by UFO groups within China and Russia devoted to an international research project at the United Nations. And now let me just stop there for a second. Yeah, I seeing is believing when it comes to that, because I just don't see them doing that. I mean, I do believe that those countries are most certainly behind the scenes. I'm sure over the decades they have recovered some alien craft, and they're trying to reverse engineer them too. I just don't know if they're going to show their cards. I think that they're the same way as they're acting the same way there as officials here are when it comes to this. That's what it seems like to me. But hey, I could be wrong. We hear there's always that possibility, I guess, that one of those countries will disclose the truth about the extraterrestrial presence. I guess we'll have to see. In the event of such an occurrence, closed-off authoritarian regimes, rather than so-called free societies, would take the lead in providing transparency on this paradigm-changing topic. American democracy would be plunged into a crisis, and the media, tasked with holding the government accountable, would suffer humiliation for not fulfilling its role in scrutinizing the government. The media, there's no question, let me just say this. The media, when this all comes to a close, they are going to be embarrassed, and they're going to act angry about it. That's going to be their response, because they're going to know they've been stupid for all these decades. That's their response, because that's the only thing they could do. That's the only thing they'll be able to do to cover their tracks. But again, these authoritarian regimes, I would find it difficult to believe that they're going to be the ones. One of those countries will be the first ones to disclose the truth about this. But hey, what do I know? These people, like Christopher Sharp, David Grush, they're a lot closer to this than I am, and maybe the information they have says something different. And I don't know how they would know that. For one, that's another thing. How would they know this? How would anybody know that one of those other countries are going to disclose before the United States? I just don't see how somebody can know that. But hey, again, what do I know? Okay, moving on. I wanted to do an update on the recent polls I've conducted on Spotify. For the episode, Debunker Blames Monkeys Killed in Rocket and Balloon Experiments for Dead Alien Body Reports, I asked this question. What did military personnel who claim to have seen dead alien bodies really see? Now, there's some more votes here now since last time. They're up to 55 votes, and there's only 2 days left on this poll. One person, or 1.8%, say drug-induced delusions. Two people, or 3.6%, say mirages. Three people, or 5.5%, say dead monkeys. Four people, or 7.3%, say anthropomorphic dummies. Another four people, or 7.3%, say nothing, they lied. Another four people, or 7.3%, say other. And the winner is dead ETs / non-human intelligence, 37 votes, or 67.3%. Of course, I agree with the majority on that one. That's what I think. I think in most cases. Okay, for the episode Kirkpatrick's lies about the UFO cover-up further exposed, I asked this question. If the concept that there's an ET presence on Earth is so ridiculous to UFO debunkers, why do they think and talk about it all the time? 65 votes on this one so far. Okay, three people, or 4.6%, blame it on lousy upbringing. Five people, or 7.7%, say they're stupid. Another five people, or 7.7%, say they're aliens. That's the debunkers are aliens themselves. Nine people, or 13.8%, say blame it on a brain cell deficiency. What's next here? 13 people, or 20%, say they're afraid. And 16 people, the majority, or 24.6%, say they're trolls. Excuse me, I missed one. And 14 people, or 21.5%, say they're government agents, and then 16 people, or 24.6%, say they're trolls. There's only seven. You can only list seven answers here, and unfortunately, if I would have had an eighth, I would have said all of the above probably, because I think it's probably a combination of all of it. All of it. Lousy upbringing. They're stupid. They're trolls. They're aliens. Some of them are probably government agents. Who knows? Paid agents. Brain cell deficiency. Yeah, that's clear. And they're afraid. I think they're afraid, most certainly. No question. And then for the episode, World War II Foo Fighters may have been plasmas / UFO debunkers are becoming hysterical. I asked this question. Do you believe it's possible that, with further research, some reported UFOs can be explained away as plasmas? 45 votes so far. 18 people, or 40%, say no, while 27 people, or 60%, say yes. I'm going to go with the majority on this. I think it's possible that sometimes what people see could be plasmas. Of course, I don't believe that with all cases, of course. I know that there's an extraterrestrial presence here for sure. Hopefully that they're listening to this episode. Maybe one of these hybrids like David Jacobs is talking about is listening to this episode, and one of them will get back to their superiors, and they'll finally do this big demonstration, this worldwide demonstration. That's what we need. That will end this debate once and for all. That's what this planet needs right now. A big time demonstration from these extraterrestrials, the ones responsible for all this havoc. That's what we need. Anyway, I want to say thank you all for joining me. Until next time.